What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 7 of the Nothing But Controversy podcast. We're starting to get comfortable in this process. We always film every Monday, post every Tuesday. Just a little reminder before we go on, same thing as usual. We post on Spotify, Apple Podcasts for just the audio. On Instagram, we post clips and whatever other posts and information we have. And then we have the visuals on YouTube. So the entire video with all our reactions and stuff we post on YouTube, all at Nothing But Controversy. Stay tuned for a huge announcement, probably the biggest announcement in our podcast history coming Thursday. So get ready for that.
I can't believe it's been 7 weeks already. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Or 6 weeks. We have the double up Christmas Eve special.
All right, so we have a couple of good segments today. A lot of segments we already done that we love. A couple new ones, but we're gonna start off with our thoughts on the conference championships without our predictions for the Super Bowl, because we're gonna have an extra special Super Bowl week podcast episode. Very excited for that one. But we're gonna go ahead and start with the NFC Championship, where we saw Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go into Green Bay and beat them on their own turf. 31-26 was the final. Dawson, tell me what you think about that game.
I just want to preface this by saying Tom Brady did not play well. Yeah. I don't care what anyone else says. A lot of people are going to say, like, oh, this game solidified his greatness, and it might have because of what he did, but breaking it down to like a micro level, Tom Brady didn't play that well. He threw 3 interceptions, did absolutely nothing in the second half, was gifted the only touchdown of the second half on that fumble. And then, to end out the second half, it was a great throw, but that throw never should have been there. Ever. There should have been a safety over the top. So I just want to preface this by saying Tom Brady didn't play great. Who did play great, though, is the Tampa Bay defense. I don't care how many points they gave up. Preventing touchdowns on all 3 of those Tom turnovers were huge. Definitely the changing point in the game. Again, don't want to jump too much into what I see for next week, but, the Packers just didn't deserve it this week. I don't think, they really didn't show up in the second half as much as they, started that little comeback. Not being able to capitalize on 3 Brady interceptions is just not acceptable. So that was my thought of the week. I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a good matchup. But yeah. Tom Brady does it again.
Yeah, so I'll jump in here. It pains me to say it because I grew up in a household that cheered religiously for Tom Brady. Obviously, I was not a Tom Brady fan. I hate the Patriots. I hate Tom Brady. But at this point, before this year even happened, there's absolutely no argument on him not being – not having solidified greatness. Like you said, he might have solidified his greatness going to the Super Bowl again. His greatness was solidified 7 years ago.
100%.
And now it's I'm all for the GOAT debate and stuff. To me, the greatest of all time is who's the best winner, who won the most, right? That's who did the most with the least amount, whatever it is. You could have conversations for the GOAT, so the best of all time. So to me, there's a difference between being great and being the best, right? You could completely argue. You could for sure say, okay, Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning are better quarterbacks than Tom Brady is, but you can't say that they're greater, because the bottom line is Tom Brady got to those AFC championships, got to one NFC championship. You're arguing, some people argue that Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers are the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Tom Brady plays 1 year in the NFC and makes it to the Super Bowl and matches the amount of Super Bowl appearances that these 2 guys have. To me, it's done. It's been done. You could argue about who's the more talented player, whatever. The Brady discussion is over. What'd you say?
What does this have to do with the game that just happened?
Okay, so it definitely has everything to do with the game. We're talking about the guy who played in it, the guy who led the team to the championship. So what I thought was, it was a very sloppy championship game. So it was 2 great quarterbacks that didn't play amazing. Aaron Rodgers played okay. Tom Brady didn't play that well. and it came down to the team that made the least amount of mistakes. It was kind of like the Saints game. Like the Saints blew it. I'm not gonna say that the Packers blew it as much as the Saints did, but Tampa Bay just didn't make as many mistakes as the Packers did. We're gonna have a major debate on if you kick the field goal or if you go for it. I am so on the side of you have to go for it, and I have many arguments for that. We could get into that later. That being said, the best team on the field yesterday was Tampa Bay, and they deserve to be there. Green Bay was the best NFC team I saw all year, and they just didn't play as good as they should have, in my opinion.
All right, to jump in on this one, I think the reason the Packers lost was Aaron Rodgers. I think he forced it way too much to Devontae Adams. We saw that both times that they settled for field goals. The first time he had Allen Lazard wide open on a crosser, he could have stepped right into the end zone. He tried to force it to Devontae Adams in the back of the end zone, threw it out of bounds. Devontae was out of bounds. The second time, I think he could have ran on both second and third down. I think he had the yards, and then forced it to Devontae Adams in double coverage. I don't think he was smart with the ball yesterday. I think that's ultimately what cost them. Because like we said, they had the chances. They had 3 turnovers. The defense, as bad as those mistakes were by Brady, you have to capitalize on those chances. That touchdown by Scotty Miller, I think, was a backbreaker.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on that.
Kevin King looked absolutely horrific yesterday. He got burnt many times. But to me, I think Aaron Rodgers was the difference. If he didn't force it to Devontae Adams so much, I think we'd be sitting here having a different conversation.
Look, we could talk about the quarterback battle all we want, but we got to give credit to that Tampa defense. The front seven looked amazing. They sacked Rodgers 3 or 4 times, I think. And
I miss JPP.
I was gonna say, where the hell did he come from? You could have told me he retired 5 years ago, and he'd be like,
he's been good all year, though. He's made some sneaky plays all year.
Yeah.
Last
But
year,
even if you look at the secondary, like big credit to Carlton Davis and Sean Murphy Bunting. Obviously, Murphy Bunting had the pick, but Carlton Davis, like Devontae Adams, didn't make any huge plays. He had that really nice route on the touchdown that he scored, the slant. He snapped Carlton Davis's ankles, but other than that, it was all like less than 10 yards. Like they really kept him in check. Allowed the front seven to get home on a few big sacks, especially late in the game. So yeah, we could talk about the quarterbacks. Obviously, a little less explosive than we thought, for sure. I mean, personally, for me, anyways, I thought there was going to be a lot more bigger plays, but I'm impressed with Tampa's defense. I hope Jordan Whitehead can come back for them. Obviously, Winfield looks like he'll be able to come back, but I think it's going to be fun, like going forward for them. They're young and they like making big plays.
Yeah. So before we go, Matt, you kind of alluded to it. Is there anyone of the 4 of us that thinks kicking the field goal was the right call?
At that time, I thought it was the right call.
Really?
I think. Okay, let me explain.
I understand the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, you had,
sure.
like you had 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, and like you weren't like the plays you were calling were not working. So if you didn't have a play in your playbook that you thought was 100% going to work, I would have taken the points too.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where I come from it, okay? I understand the reasoning behind it. I completely disagree with the reasoning behind it, okay? To me, you're down 8, so you're down by a touchdown. You're going to have to score a touchdown regardless if you kick a field goal or not. How do you know you're going to even get the ball back, first of all, against a glorified game closer, maybe the most clutch player of all time?
Yeah.
Who's to say you're going to get the ball? Who's going to say you're not going to score on that? Who's to say, like, all these things come into play when you're going to have to score a touchdown regardless. You're going to say, oh, well, they might have not have gotten the 2-point conversion. Like, so what? Like, to me, you have the MVP of the league on your team, leading the team down the field on perhaps the last drive.
I see why LaFleur did it, because they didn't look good in the red zone. So if he didn't trust his play, it makes sense for him to go with the field. I think it's different if St. Brown didn't drop that 2-point. I think they would have gone for it. But because St. Brown dropped it, I think it was a different – they didn't have a play. If he thinks he didn't have a play, I mean, he knows best if he doesn't have a play, right?
I mean, I think if he's down 9, it's a completely different story. If you're down 9, kick the field goal. and then you can go in whatever because you need 2 scores anyways. But the fact that they're down 8, and then like Matt said, against a glorified closer, like you have to like, and again, it just proved it in this case that it was the wrong call because they didn't get the ball back.
Yeah, I agree.
No, it's safe to say we all understand why he did it. I don't agree with it. You have Aaron Rodgers and you have one of, if not the best receiver in the NFL. I think no matter what, if you think you have a play or not, you have to find it. That's what it comes to. Your season's on the line. You got to find a play for to win the game. At that point, you're going to the Super Bowl. Your season's on the line.
I mean,
that being said, look, I understand the reasoning. I don't agree with it. If I was in those shoes, I would have tried anything it took to score and tie that game, especially given that you have Aaron Rodgers. But
I think it also came down to the point where how the defense was playing the run game. Like aside from that Leonard Fournette touchdown, they didn't really break anything big, right? Like
Neither team did, no.
The max after that was like what 5 or 6 yards that Leonard Fournette had on the ground. So I think that also probably played into it too.
Just the last thing I'm going to say about that is also you're either on the 7-yard line or 8-yard line, whatever it was. It was 4th and goal. To me, you get stopped. You're going to need a stop anyways. Kick the field goal. You're going to need a stop anyways. So like you have such a good opportunity to score a touchdown in the red zone. Like you can't ask for more than that, in my opinion. Like you can't ask for more than that. You literally had a chance to you had the chance to give the decision to your star quarterback, the best player in the league this year, to do what he does and score a touchdown in the red zone. They were the best red zone team. They're like the 4th best red zone efficiency team ever. I'm pretty sure it was like 80%. They scored in the red zone.
I just have one small thing to add too. I think if you go for it and don't get it, you're giving Tampa the ball inside the 10-yard line. You kick the field goal, and Tampa got the ball with a lot of room. So for me, like if you're giving Tom Brady, even when it was 3rd down and he threw it, obviously there was that hold that a little bit controversial too. But if Tom Brady's throwing that ball from his end zone, that play might have looked a little different. They might have been forced to run. But anyways, we'll never know. And we can.
So there's 2 more talking points I just want to bring up before. The one is the was it a pass interference? Was it not a pass interference? So the way I see it is that the refs weren't calling it. So I understand why Packers fans would be upset, but I know firsthand how it is to lose an NFC championship off of a no call. 100%.
That was a different no call.
100%.
It was way more obvious.
But still, 100% it's pass interference. There was a jersey tug. It pulled them back a tiny bit, stopped them from having a chance at the ball. It's pass interference. That's my opinion. The play of the game.
I agree with pass interference, but if you don't call it all game, you can't call it in a crucial situation.
I think what's bothering I don't even like if you actually look at it. I think the Packers fans are more bothered by because they didn't initially they didn't even see the jersey tug. They just thought it was the Tyler Johnson dive because he did dive.
Yeah, 100% he dived.
I don't think he would have got it if he didn't dive though.
I don't know. But it doesn't make sense because the jersey tug was this way and then he dove forward. It didn't make sense.
No, and to me the flag didn't come out till Tyler Johnson fell. It wasn't when the hold happened. It was when Tyler Johnson went down. And I don't know, who cares if that's the ref reaching into his pocket to grab the flag and he's fiddling with it or whatever excuse the ref wants to make there. But I don't know. Anyways, it is what it is. You can't blame the game on that.
The last talking point is the most crucial play of the game besides going for it or kicking the field goal was the last play of the first half. I will never understand how you could let that happen to your team.
I heard a thing this morning on the Pat McAfee show, and he was talking to Chris Carter, and he said that the receiver was white, and that's why Kevin King didn't play him. But it just goes to show status in the NFL. You know, if that guy's lining up against, and Chris Carter compared it to Antonio Brown, but even Mike Evans or whatever, you're not playing him as close as Kevin King was playing him. Scotty Miller is he's made a handful of big plays this year for sure, but. I think Kevin King was I'm better than this guy. I could press him, and he's getting behind me, and Scotty Miller proved him wrong.
Fair enough, but also as the defensive coordinator, I'm calling a prevent defense. The worst thing that could happen is they kick a field goal to end the half, and you go in up.
I don't think the main problem with that was the play call. I think the play call would have worked if Kevin King did his job.
But how do you know it wasn't press coverage or whatever?
No, that's man. That was just man coverage.
Yeah,
that's pretty much Kevin King's choice.
To me, I just don't understand how you're not playing a prevent defense. It doesn't make sense to me, but I'm gonna need someone to explain that to me. That decision.
I think the only guy that can explain it to you is the defensive coordinator.
I know. Fair enough. Let's move on.
Let's get him on the show.
Yeah. So, all right, we got all that out of the way. I got a lot of stuff off my chest there, but I'm glad that we're more or less in agreement. the AFC Championship saw Buffalo go into Kansas City. Kansas City started off slow, gave them the ball on the 2-yard line. They scored right away to make it 9-0. They missed the extra point, but then Kansas City ran and scored a bunch of unanswered points and ended up winning 38-24. Dominated that game. To me, it wasn't that Buffalo necessarily looked bad. They didn't play as great as they've been playing. I think Kansas City looked really, really good. If anything, I thought during the season and during the playoffs, Kansas City was kind of like it was weird. Like they were just squeezing out wins. It was just weird how they were playing, and like yesterday just reaffirmed to me like why they're so damn good. Like there were so many drives where like it was like, okay, Buffalo needs to stop here, and then boom, Tyreek Hill runs for 70 yards to the 3-yard. Like it was ridiculous. Like they just have those guys that can do that. I think it was just Kansas City being really good, and they 100% deserve to be in the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
The only thing I'll add to that is, and the analysts have said a lot, I think Josh Allen looked a bit scared. I don't know what it was. Not quite Texans game last year, but he did look a little bit scared in that game. I don't know if that was the difference maker when it all said and done, because Kansas City did play unreal, but he did look a bit scared in that game. I don't know if you guys noticed that too. But.
Yeah. The thing to me is like we saw a lot of it last year is where he won't eat the ball or throw it out of bounds. I mean, there was one play last night where he literally stepped out of bounds and then threw it away. Like,
yeah,
he lacks a little bit of awareness and he can't let a play die,
Yeah.
And sometimes I think
thing
you
happened in the wild card.
you're better off just living to see another day.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Look, Buffalo's offense, again, there's another little controversial thing. They kicked field goal at the end of half, and Sean McDermott said like they couldn't find points, and that was just like a way like to bail themselves out and go into halftime down 9. But I think against the Chiefs, and we'll see if it happens to the Bucs as well. But you can't settle for field goals at all, especially when you're inside the 5-yard line. It can't happen. You're not giving yourself a chance to win, and never looked good for them after that. After halftime, it wasn't even close.
To me, this game showed a major hole in Buffalo, and that is the running back position.
Yep.
You can't win games throwing it as often as they throw it. Like, it's not a recipe for success. I think this game really blew that. Like, we all knew that was there. We all knew that was a hole, but this game really blew it open because they were having fast drives, and you can't give Patrick Mahomes the ball with that much time for him to work and everything. To me, this game also proved that Kansas City is just that much better than everybody in the AFC. When Patrick Mahomes is behind center, there's no one stopping them in the AFC. I don't know about the NFC. They don't really play each other that often in the playoffs, especially at home. Look, the Bills' defense did a lot of things against Lamar Jackson. They forced him to use his legs. They forced him to use his arm instead of his legs. But Patrick Mahomes is not a guy you could dare to throw the ball on you. Like you leave one guy like half a yard open, he's gonna find that half a yard and get it to that guy.
And it's also like they have so many weapons too. Like like it's just.
And I think that's the thing. And I think the Bills will be back soon. I think they just need a run game, and I think they'll be a lot better. But I guess we'll see what they do in the offseason.
I agree.
I don't even think the Bills' backs are that bad. Like they're in no way Pro Bowl backs or even top 10 backs, but you didn't really give any of them a chance. Like, let's be real.
I was talking to Cam yesterday, and I honestly think the perfect running back for their offense would be Travis Etienne.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should take him in the first round of the draft because I think he fits their style perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be like a Clyde to Kansas City thing. They don't need a lot of pieces, but it's just that weapon it's like a perfect fit.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, we got Kansas City going to Tampa Bay next week.
Also, I have a question because we've never really seen this. Does Tampa, are they the home team? Because they were worse. But
they'll be in the away locker room, I think.
Yeah.
Everything. They'll get the whole away.
That's what I was thinking, but we've never really seen it before. So maybe. Is Tampa home field or whatever? I mean, I guess it's their home field, but.
So let's move on to just like a kind of random segment that we came across. Shaner texted our group chat, was like, we should do this. I saw it online. We're like 100%, let's do it. It's going to be fun. Basically all it is who would be your starting 5 in the NBA if you could only use centers? So all over the league, you have your centers and you have a starting 5. who would be your center? Are we gonna do everyone just says their lineup, or are we gonna go by position?
You can go by position.
Okay, let's go by position. We'll start.
Disclaimer: Anthony Davis is not a center.
Yeah, that's what we said. We agreed on that.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with our one, which is our point guard, and I'd be very shocked if everyone did not have the same answer.
I have JaVale McGee. He put on some moves last night.
But yeah, all jokes aside, it's got to be Nikola Jokic.
Yep.
He might be one of the best passers in the NBA, and he's a center. Like obviously,
he could start a game at point guard.
Like he's the obvious choice, and then after that, it gets tougher. Does anyone not have?
Jokic.
No, I just want to say I would love to see him strap up in football pads and play a game at quarterback. I don't want a 7-footer behind center, but anyways.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess I'll go to the 2. So the shooting guard. I'll start. Might be controversial, but I have Kristaps Porzingis at 2. I think this guy is very, very versatile when healthy. So we're talking when we're healthy, right? When he was in New York, he was dominant. Like, he could do everything. He could shoot. Like, I think he would be he's just one of the most versatile centers in the league. I like him. He's very athletic. So I'll have him at 2.
I have KAT at 2. Good 3-point shooter. Not much more to say. The only thing with him at 2 is he's a bit tall. Obviously, they're all fucking tall. They're centers, but no, he can shoot the 3. So he's at 2 for me.
I went with another Nikola, not Vucevic. I love him. I don't know. Yeah, he's athletic. He's my 2.
At my 2, I kind of went with a little surpriser, a little 3-and-D player, and that's Serge Ibaka.
Ooh.
I think he's a great. Yep.
My guy.
He starts at center. Yeah. I think he's a great shot blocker. We all know that. He's great on defense, and he's one of the best 3-point shooters as a big man in the NBA. I think he's shooting like 37% or something from 3 this year. It's pretty solid. So I'm rocking with Serge at the 2.
So we'll move to 3. That's our small forward, and I have Karl Anthony Towns at 3. For the kind of the same reasons that Dawson has. He's good. He's very versatile. He's a good 3-point shooter, and I think he would fit well there in a group of centers.
Yeah. So my 3, he's literally the size to play a 3. He could probably get away with playing a 3, and that's Bam. Somehow he's listed as a center. But no, he's like 6'9", 6'10". I really like his game. Good on both ends of the court. So yeah, he's easy pick for me at 3.
I have KAT as well, Matt. Yeah, just.
I went with another 3-point. A guy can knock down threes. I went Vucevic at my 3.
So just for the record, I don't have Bam on my list because I was looking at a list of just the top centers in the league just to remind me of who would be in there, and he just wasn't in there. So I just decided not to put him in there.
I have Bam at 6-man because he could play.
Hey, sure, I'll have him at 6-man.
He could play point guard too.
Yeah.
So at my at the 4, as a power forward, I have Joel Embiid. Right now, he's the best center in the league. He's the MVP frontrunner.
He's the best center in the league, but you have him playing power forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
just because you'll see it.
Okay.
But yeah, so I have him at 4. He's playing out of his mind right now, and I guess we're gonna have to see if the process has got to be trusted now.
Yes, sir. I also have TTP, trust the process, Joel Embiid at 4. My 4 and 5, I know Embiid is like very good offensively, but my 4 and 5, I just wanted fucking size. I just wanted some big boys. So, yeah, Embiid at 4.
Yeah, I agree, Matt. I think we're gonna have the same list other than our 2s. Yeah, I went with Embiid as well. That 2 is having a crazy year.
I got Cat at 4.
Okay, and at 5, at my actual center, I have Rudy Gobert. Really good shot blocker, defensive player of the year. He's just a beast under the net. That's what I want in the post.
So overrated.
Okay, I mean he's one of the best shot blockers in the league. I don't think you can argue that. So that's why I have him at 5.
Yeah, I have him at 5 too. Strictly for a defensive standpoint. I don't care if he gets 0 touches on offense the whole game. So my other boys are 4. But no, like Matt said, he was defensive player of the year for a reason. I know Shane thinks he's overrated, but just the size in the middle there, Mr. COVID himself.
I'm gonna say.
Okay, you shocked me a little bit, but maybe this is a little bit of manifestation as a Raptors fan, but I went with Andre Drummond at 5.
Yeah.
Uh,
No.
yeah, I mean, it's obviously
Pure
great
rebound.
rebounder. That's what we need
Yeah.
on our side of the court. So with Andre Drummond,
The only
Who's
reason why
become a
I didn't
Raptor?
have Andre Drummond on there is because I think that Andre Drummond might be one of the best rebounders in the league, but like it's a group full of centers, right? And they all rebound. So like to me, like that's why I didn't put him on, if that makes sense.
fair
Yeah.
enough.
But I 100% thought about it.
At the center position, I went with the best center in the league at his natural position.
Aaron Baines.
Oh yeah, definitely Aaron Baines. I went Embiid at 5.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, so just to go over, I had Jokic at 1, Porzingis at 2, Karl Anthony Towns at 3, Embiid at 4, and Gobert at 5.
I had Jokic at 1, Cat at 2, Bam at 3, and Embiid at 4, and Gobert at 5.
Yeah, I had Jokic at 1, Vucevic at 2, Cat at 3, Embiid at 4, and Drummond at 5.
I had Jokic at 1, Ibaka at 2, Vucevic at 3, Cat at 4, and Embiid at 5.
Bam Adebayo, 6 man.
Bam at 6, baby.
Gucci, 6 man.
All right, so we'll shift back towards football. Now we're going to go with our question of the week. And this is a doozy. So what we said was, I came up with this just off the top of my head. I was like, you know what? There's so many rumors about this guy. And it's just, if Deshaun Watson were to leave Houston, where would you like to see him end up? And you're not allowed to say your favorite team. So obviously, I would like to see him on the Saints, but I'm not allowed to say my favorite team. So Dawson, give me a big hug because I want to see him on Indianapolis. Okay.
Sure.
I think that one of the main issues with Indianapolis was their quarterback play, and I think if they got Deshaun Watson, immediately puts them as the second best team in the AFC and the only team I see coming out of the AFC that besides Kansas City. Like Shane said, I think the Bills just need more pieces, and they just need it's going to be like that team is not going to beat Kansas City to me, and I think that Indianapolis with Deshaun Watson at quarterback would be absolutely freaky.
Man, I literally can't stop smiling just thinking about that. But I mean, if I could call up Houston and try to convince them to trade him within the division, I would. I just can't see it happening. But for me, I just went with the 49ers. I was never a huge Jimmy G guy. He's a handoff, check down kind of guy. But I think the sole reason I want to see Deshaun in San Fran is just him and Kittle. I think that would be magical. I think that would be really sick. Kelsey, Mahomes vibes. So yeah, that's why I would want him in San Fran.
Look, as an Eagles fan, I don't want to see him anywhere in the NFC. Obviously, but I do think the Bears would be a good fit. But I have to go with Miami, and I know that's like kind of been like it kind of died down as soon as that like big Tua blockbuster trade was like rumored to be happening. But I think they would be a great fit. They have a good defense. Would take the pressure off him. Obviously, like he led the league in passing this year and whatever. But I think having a defense behind him would just kind of ease the pressure for sure. I think that would boost Miami big time. Be able to contend with Buffalo within their division. I'm not saying Tua is not good or anything, but I do think he's developing, obviously, as an NFL quarterback. There's no debate, obviously, Deshaun Watson's better than him. If you had to pick between the two right now, no doubt you would take Deshaun. So I think that would be a good fit. I would like to see it happen, but we'll see.
Look, what I want to say is a team that probably can't happen because it doesn't have a first-round pick, and that's the Rams. I think he'd be great there. So I'm going to go with a team that does have a first-round pick that I could see him, and that's him going back home to Georgia. I could see him in Atlanta for some reason. I know they have Matt Ryan, and they'll probably stick with Matt Ryan, but can you imagine an offense with Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Hayden Hurst, and Deshaun Watson, and then whatever running back they decide to sign or draft with it? They have a great O-line. All their O-line is first-round picks, and they've all kind of panned out, sort of, or they're looking like they're going to pan out. And they got a lot of young pieces on defense too. Keanu Neal, the Florida boy. They got Dante Fowler Jr., also a Florida boy. They got A.J. Terrell, who they just drafted. Deion Jones at linebacker. I think he would make that team a lot better. especially with a new head coach who he's coming from the Titans. I think he'd love to have him, and I don't know. I could just see him wanting to go back home to Georgia and lighten it up in Atlanta.
It's weird how we all didn't, like, none of us said New York, like the Jets, because apparently that's the place he
If
wants
he's going to one New York team, it better not be the Jets. That's all I'm going to say.
I just don't get that. I don't get why anyone's preferred destination would be the Jets.
Because he wants to play for Robert Saleh. Like he
So it is
wanted
New York, like,
he wanted Houston to hire Robert Saleh.
Yeah. I can't believe – I say this literally every week. I can't believe how terribly run the Houston Texans organization.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It just gets worse every week.
It literally does. It really does. Also, just Shane, you naming off all those players makes me realize how Atlanta might be the most talented shit team ever. They're so bad, but they are so good on paper.
the Chargers too, man.
The Chargers, yeah.
Yeah.
Atlanta was dealing with a lot of defensive injuries at the beginning of the year. Like their defense wasn't really healthy till at least halfway through the season. So
And look, they have a high draft pick, number 4. They have the 4th overall pick. I think Houston would definitely want that. And I think Atlanta, if they were getting Deshaun Watson, would gladly give that up.
yeah, I don't think they're bad. I just think.
So,
Oh, my bad.
They're missing some pieces on defense. The defense is not complete. They need some more pieces. But on paper, they have a pretty solid team. And like Cam said, injuries got the best of them.
okay. Well, with that being said, we'll move on to our next segment. This is a segment we do every week, and it's our bold prediction of the week. And to me, it's going to be hard because I usually do these, like my bold prediction and my lock about football. But sadly, we do not have any football this week. So I'll start with the bold prediction of the week, and mine is Drouin scores 2+ goals in one of the 2 Flames games this week on Thursday or Saturday.
Wow.
That's my bold
Give
prediction.
my boy his respect.
Also, before we move on at all, I just need to give the biggest shout out ever to my boy Shane for the Tyler Toffoli bandwagon. You know, just named
Appreciate it.
first star of the week. No, he looks unreal.
Listen, he felt so bad that he missed my lock of the week. He got 5 goals in the next.
Literally. Go. I don't have one yet. I'm gonna look over quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went with a team that just inquired about this, but I think the Buffalo Sabres are going to trade for a goalie this week.
Ooh.
They better get Jack Eichel his Hart Trophy.
My bold prediction. They need it. They definitely need it.
All right. I'm gonna jump in on mine. It's gonna go back to the Habs, and that will be. All right, look, this guy has not looked good. He's looked good in 1 out of every 2 games he's played. That's Carey Price. But in one of the games against Calgary, he will get his first shutout of the year.
I like that. And my bold prediction, we can talk about how good the Habs have been after because I kind of want to touch on that. But my bold prediction of the week is Wednesday, January 27th, the Toronto Raptors beat the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, baby.
That's my prediction.
That is bold.
Yes, it is. But not for nothing, the Raptors have looked a lot better from when they started the season.
They have.
And the whole
That's
East is kind of shit this year.
All right. Well, that's our bold predictions of the week, and we're gonna move to a segment that we have done before. We've never done it this way, this or that. So basically, I have written down a bunch of comparisons. There's your test from Dawson. I've written down a bunch of comparisons that these 3 guys don't know about. Usually, they do know about and they can prepare. I'm the only one who knows about them, and we're gonna do NFL QB edition. So I have 6 comparisons here, and basically the question is simply, like, would you rather this player? So take that as you want. You think who is better. Doesn't have to be, like, it's kind of like regardless of their surroundings. You just, like, who would you rather on your
Most
team?
talented.
Yeah, sure. Like, I guess we could say it like that.
Yeah.
First one I have is Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
Let me know when you guys are set.
I am set.
Good.
Wait for Cam. Well, we know Cam's answer.
Going.
We know Cam's answer. Let's go, fancy handwriting.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, raise them. All right. Okay. So I thought this might happen when I wrote it down. For those listening, everyone said Lamar. It's a lot closer to me than it would have been at the start of this year. I was thinking that Baker was kind of starting to trend towards not being the answer for Cleveland. I think that this year proved that he could be that guy. Lamar Jackson's my answer might change, man. Like he's got to start showing something in big games, because if you can't be that guy, there's no point of being a superstar, right? Like,
what has Baker shown in the big game?
That's it. Like,
no, that's what I'm like. But like, okay, so to me, what I want in a quarterback is a guy who could command the field, and I think Baker does do that. He's a great leader, and that's why I have Lamar, because I think Lamar is a better player. But if he doesn't show me something in the next couple of years, it might change.
yeah, I think, Matt, you said it probably 2 episodes ago that Lamar is arguably, when he's on, the most unstoppable player in the NFL.
And I stand by that.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
want to say, in earlier episodes, I got shat on for saying that Baker was playing like a top 10 quarterback this year, and now we're talking about him possibly being taken over Lamar Jackson.
Last year's
I never said
MVP.
anything of the such, by the way.
Well, I obviously know you didn't, because you're in love with Baker Mayfield.
Again, I'm not super bought into the Baker hype just yet. And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's a personal thing. I'm not super bought in, but when you're doing this comparison, one of them has a league MVP and one of them was a question mark coming into the season. I think, just that alone is enough for me for now. Like Matt said, maybe it'll change. But for now, it's got to be Lamar.
I feel like if we did this comparison last year, it would have been a shock.
You wouldn't have thought of. You wouldn't have thought.
We wouldn't have compared them. We wouldn't have compared them. Not just like, but look, the Browns did well this year. Baker Mayfield was a huge part of their success, especially after losing OBJ halfway through the year. I do think Lamar got drafted to a team that was better when they drafted him. Like Cleveland was nowhere near as good when Baker was the number 1 overall pick. So let's not act like Baker hasn't been.
The reason they have the number 1 overall pick.
No, yeah. Right. So, that's not taking anything away from Lamar Jackson. I would take him over Baker Mayfield right now. Absolutely. Look, they're both young and they both balling out. So I'm looking forward to seeing like where both their careers kind of go. But right now, I'd absolutely take Lamar Jackson.
Especially in the same division, I feel like they're going to be compared their whole careers.
Exactly.
Yep.
100%.
All right. So that being said, let's move on. This one's kind of a weird one, but it's Kyler Murray or Justin Herbert.
Oh, man.
That's tough.
For the record, I kind of tried to stay away from like the top 5 quarterbacks in the league because I feel like any answer is right. Like we did our question of the week in week 1, I think, was Deshaun Watson or Josh Allen. To me, it's still a toss-up, but like I just didn't put them on there since we already did it. But I just tried to think about the quarterbacks that were a little bit lower than the superstars in the league. Not saying that these guys aren't superstars, but they're just not like in the top 5 to me yet. Let me know when you guys are good.
I'm good.
All right. So Justin Herbert or Kyler Murray, go. All right. So we're split here.
Let me go.
This one's very tough. I just want to say.
So, sure. Obviously, Kyler's been amazing since he's come into the league. I mean, a little bit of a tough first year, and Herbert's been amazing. Don't get me wrong. However, we always say, and we've said, like, who broke Herbert broke the passing touchdown record this year. He broke Baker Mayfield's record. Yeah. So always that question is, they can have a good rookie year. What are they going to do in their second year? It's not to take anything away from Herbert. Not to say I don't think he might be better than Kyler, but to me right now, I'm taking Kyler Murray, who's proved it through his second year, over a guy who's had 1 rookie year. And obviously, I think he's going to be a great when he's done, but we'll see. I would take Kyler right now.
Okay, so I just want to jump in here. They both have like top 5, you could argue, receivers to throw to in the league. And I'm a big fan of what you just said, Cam, saying like they got to prove what they can do in their second year. To me, I haven't seen a guy this good in his rookie year in a while. I think that
Baker
Justin
Mayfield
Herbert
was
is the
that good in his
perfect
first year.
quarterback, I guess. But I think that like Justin Herbert's a better quarterback build than Baker Mayfield is. To me, I think that Justin Herbert is the franchise guy. He's going to be there for the next 15 years. He's going to be their guy. It's not taking anything away from Kyler Murray because I thought that Kyler Murray was not supposed to be taken at number one. I disagreed with it, and I'm completely wrong. He's their guy. He's a phenomenal player. To me, I look at height difference, and they're both like I'm not going to say that Justin Herbert's as athletic as Kyler Murray is. He's not, but I think that Justin Herbert is going to be a better quarterback at the end of his career than Kyler Murray. And I'm really not upset that you guys said Kyler Murray over Justin Herbert, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, you look at it this way, again, taking nothing away from Herbert because he did have a borderline historic rookie season. He did break records.
Yeah.
I feel like their supporting cast, offense and defense, is fairly similar. You might give the edge to LA's defense. And just the win difference this year for me, obviously neither were playoff teams, but just Arizona being able to eke out those, whatever it was, 4 or 5 extra wins over that is just the thing that sets it over apart based on how close their supporting casts are for me.
I'm not going to lie. This one was a huge bias for me. You all know how much I love Justin Herbert. I wanted him to be a Giant, and when he went back to school, I was heartbroken. I've never had my heart shatter like it did that day. I will never forgive him for going back to school, but I love watching him play. I loved him at Oregon. I thought he was going to be the truth in the NFL. And if he builds on what he did, I think he has a chance to one day be the best quarterback in the NFL. Like, not of all time, like in that, like in the NFL right now. He could be at one point in his career the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I think before we move on, I think we take for granted how, other than Patty Mahomes, how old all the top 5 or 10 quarterbacks are. Like, I think we're taking that for granted a lot. Like, it's going to, like, 5 years from now, the NFL is going to look a lot different.
And just for the people that aren't watching, my card actually didn't say Justin Herbert. It has OROY 2020 written on it because he's the rookie of the year. I stand by that statement. I would be very shocked if he didn't win it, and I would be upset if he didn't win it. Let me just reiterate that. Moving on. We got 2 guys that are not the best in the league, but not the worst. I've got Jared Goff or Ryan Tannehill.
Does Tannehill have 2 ends?
It
I think
does.
so.
I guess we know Dawson's pick.
Yeah, I was just about to say, my bad.
It's all good. All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we got 4 Tannehills up on the board. Does anyone want to say something about it?
This one's not really close for me. I think, if you go 3 years back, maybe you can, well, no, the argument would be Goff, but I think Tannehill in the last 3 years, even though how dominant Derrick Henry's been, he showed something. He showed that he can play. He shows that he can win a somewhat competitive AFC South.
I mean, he's got the best passer rating the last 2 years, right?
Exactly. In a usually very competitive division with the Colts and the Texans. So, yeah, for me, I think Tannehill is by far the better quarterback than Goff. Goff is really, since the Super Bowl, it's just been.
The only thing I can say about that is I can't stand Jared Goff, and that's why I didn't pick him.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's a franchise guy. I think Sean McVay doesn't even want him there either.
Yeah.
I think arm talent wise, like it's like A and B. You're not like you can't tell the difference, but like just what Tannehill can do with his legs, and he's a little bit of a game manager, but does it well, and Titans have been successful since signing him. So yeah, not easy decision for me.
I didn't know Tannehill was a receiver in college until like the playoff game against the Colts. He's sneaky athletic. He's very like.
Yep.
Ryan Tannehill looks better when he hands off the ball than Jared Goff. So that's why I rolled with Tannehill.
Fair enough.
But actually, I think Tannehill's a lot better quarterback. I think he's a better decision maker. I think he has a stronger arm personally. And I don't know. I think he's also more athletic than Jared Goff. But Jared Goff ran one time in one of the playoff games, and it looked like he wasn't even moving. Like Tannehill has the threat of his legs, and I don't think Jared Goff has that.
Yeah.
I agree. All right. We'll move on. We got 3 left. And this one is the battle of the Matts. So do we like Matt Ryan or Matt Stafford?
I'm ready.
You guys let me know. I had mine pre-written.
I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
All right, here we go. On 3. All right. Okay.
The future Indianapolis Colt, Matt Stafford. Yeah, that's my
All 4 of us said Matt Stafford, by the way. This isn't me taking anything away from Matty Ice. Yeah, he's played in the Saints division. He has an MVP. He made it to the Super Bowl in one of the all-time greatest collapses of all time. But to me, like, the only thing I'm going to say is that this guy had an all-time talent in Julio Jones, and they should have been better.
I mean, you could say the same thing about
Matt
Megatron.
Stafford with Calvin Johnson. What did he do?
I mean,
he made single playoff win.
I guess, yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean. But just arm talent-wise, I think Matt Stafford.
I also think that Matt Stafford didn't have Megatron in his prime. Like, I think he had him, like, when he was younger, right? Like, Matt Ryan's had him his whole career. Like, he was there when he got drafted, too. Matt Stafford came in and played with Megatron for how many years? 3? But, yeah. I mean, I'm also a big Matt Stafford fan, to be fair. I would Bills Mafia head dive into a table if he came to the Saints. Not going to happen because the Saints can't afford anyone, but that's
rolling with Jameis.
It's all right. We'll see what happens with that. Do you guys have anything else to say?
I took Stafford too, obviously, but I think it's a lot closer than you're giving Matt Ryan credit for.
I'm saying it's very close as well. I am.
Like this is the first one I really had to think about. Like Matt Ryan, it's the playoff wins that he's got on Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford's arm strength needs to be talked about more, though. Like, that guy can sling a football, like, 65 yards.
Yeah.
The reason I took Stafford is the toughness and the, like, he plays in games that he shouldn't be playing in. I don't know if Matt Ryan would do the same because he's never really had to do the same. So I would rather have Matt Stafford as my quarterback because I think they play similar, but I think Matt Stafford's a better leader based on what he's proven that even when this team has won 3 games in week 17, he's got broken ribs, he's still going to go out there and play because that's what he owes the guys, as he says, right?
And to me, honestly, I just think that I have a better chance to win with Matt Stafford there than Matt Ryan.
I think Matt Stafford was a lot more disrespected in Detroit than Matt Ryan was in Atlanta. Because, like, the Falcons didn't really have a good defense before that, the year that they went to the Super Bowl. Like, they were like the old day, like, Chiefs where they, like, just tried to outscore everybody and it didn't really work out for them often. But I think Matt Stafford is not, like, after Megatron retired, you can make the argument for Galladay, but before that, who do you have? There's no, like, huge name receiver.
Golden Tate.
Yeah, I was gonna say Golden Tate.
Golden Tate.
I love Golden Tate, but
Yeah, and like,
3 on the draft is older now. But there's no comparison. So to me,
no.
I think
and like Dawson said, like,
he also doesn't have a run game. He's never, like, when's the last time a running back in Detroit went for 1,000?
Well, that's what I mean.
It's like
overall,
like Dawson said, it's not like Atlanta was shit, right? Like, Atlanta wasn't shit. Like, they have a good team, and, like, not saying that Matt Ryan's the guy to be.
But are you putting that Super Bowl loss on Matt Ryan?
No, not at all.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, I think that Matt Stafford has had, like, consistently shit teams, whereas Matt Ryan has had stars around him. You know,
Yeah.
like
there has never ever been a Sunday where I'm like, can't wait to catch the Lions game, bro. Like, never, ever. But there's been days where I'm like, oh, I want to see fucking Matt Ryan and Julio and Calvin Ridley and Deion Jones and Keanu Neal. Like, never had that in Detroit.
All right, so we'll go to our second to last comparison, and this one's the hardest one for me. and it's a battle of the New York quarterbacks. Daniel Jones or Sam
I don't
Darnold?
need time. I'm ready.
I'm sorry, Shane.
I'm just going to hold it up. I don't even care what any of you have to say. I stand by it. I stand by it.
Okay.
Let's go, Cam.
Listen, I'm just gonna start off by saying quick, and then we could discuss after.
Hold on, just so everyone knows, me and Dawson took Darnold, Shane and Cam took DJ.
Danny Dimes.
I think first of all, I think Daniel Jones will fix the turnover issue that he has. I really hope so. I mean, I don't hope so.
I'm praying.
But
I'm
for the sake of
absolutely
his career,
praying.
I hope he does. I do think there's like a slight overreaction in the football world right now that if Darnold goes to a better team, that he'll like all his problems will be solved. I don't think we've seen enough of him, and I don't mean like volume. I mean like he's just made some terrible throws, terrible reads in big time moments where the Jets had a chance to be in the game, and I don't think he's bad by any means. I do think he has a chance to like revive his career, but I don't think I've seen enough out of Darnold to say he's like this great quarterback that's been like destroyed by Adam Gase.
Yeah. No, I think, and that all started with one viral clip of Darnold doing a Patty Mahomes like no look throw, and from there it's been like, oh, get him out of New York, blah blah blah. But for me, Cam alluded to it, saying that he thinks it's going to get fixed. But when you have more, not even interceptions, when you have more like lost fumbles than games started, like that's a problem. Like
Yeah.
that is a problem. I know it gives Shane freaking migraines 24/7, but that's
Definitely,
a problem, man.
but just at the same time, the Jets with Darnold most of the year were 2-14, and the Giants like were
That's true.
and the
Also-
Eagles like mishap and blown coaching and whatever you want to call it
For a
away
big,
from making the playoffs. So
Darnold was also
big-
injured like half the season. Like
it was not
Whether-
half the year. I don't think he missed 8 games this
no,
year.
but I'm not saying he missed 8 games. but he was
Jones
still
also
injured,
missed a
you know,
couple
like-
games too, though.
No, fair. Yeah, that's fine. But I'm just
And-
saying. Like,
Yeah, but
For
still,
a large
still
portion of
good.
the year, Daniel Jones had the highest rating on a deep ball throw. Like he was the highest rated deep ball thrower for the majority of the year in the NFL.
I'm
I
also
think-
not going to sit here and tell you that the Giants are like light years ahead of the Jets.
Yeah.
The Giants are not a good team, and the Jets aren't either. But Sam Darnold needs to do. Anyways, we'll see.
Back
Maybe
to the
it's
fumbling
system,
though.
and I hope he turns his career around. But
Back to the fumbling issue is that O-line's not good. Like he's getting guys in his face all the time. Against Arizona, he got sacked like 8 times. The week after, he got sacked 6 times. Like
you got to eat the ball, man.
he
Yeah.
does. That is. You
Like,
cannot blame
that he does. But if he doesn't have time to make a play, how are you going to say he's not a good quarterback?
Yeah, but look,
I'm not
Because
saying
a lot
he's
of
not
no, but a
quarterback.
lot of people, their argument is he's not a good quarterback because he doesn't have time to make a throw. Also, who's his number 1 receiver? Nobody.
Darius Slayton.
He's not a number 1. He's a number
Yes,
2
he is.
max. So he's-
Same thing that goes
Evan
for Darnold.
Ingram, also like 5 of his interceptions bounced right off Evan Ingram's hands, right into the defender.
But like, who's the top guy in New York?
Wait, would you rather Jameson Crowder or Darius Slayton? Be honest.
It's not
Crowder
even,
is
no, don't even think about
Crowder
it. It's
probably.
easy.
I would take Crowder,
Crowder's had some crazy good games.
but I think as much as I would take
It's
Evan Ingram
close.
over
Like,
anyone.
it's not
It
like
is.
Crowder
Also,
is a freaking
DJ is a
game changer.
lot more.
yeah,
athletic
but
than
he
Sam
could
Darnold
be.
is.
I think Crowder with the number.
Like, he would be a good number 2, just like Slayton. Slayton
He would be a
good
great
number.
number 2.
You keep telling me that, Shane. You say he's not a number 1, which I
I
agree
keep
with.
saying it.
I think
Yeah.
he's a good number 2.
I think he is too. But DJ is also a lot more athletic than Sam Darnold is.
I think
And
this
look-
comparison is a little bit like it's gonna depend who gets a better supporting cast around them because I don't think either of them are gonna win
Do it
games on their own.
themselves. Yeah.
Like I said, this was the hardest one for me. So this is not like I'm.
This was the easiest one.
It's not we're arguing two greats. We're arguing two like
Unproven
average
young guys. But look, just to go back to the fumbling thing one last time, and I'm not comparing Andrew Luck to Daniel Jones, but Andrew Luck's first 3 years in the NFL, he had arguably one of the worst O-line in football history. Like, so bad that it caused him to retire at 27 years old because he got injured every second
I
game.
know he fucked my fantasy team.
Oh, poor you. But no, like, and Andrew Luck never had 30 fumbles. You know what I mean? Like, it's you
No,
gotta learn to eat it.
It's a problem. It's definitely a problem.
Okay.
But he did get better. Okay, as dumb as it sounds, he got better from year 1 to year 2. Not that much better, but he did get better. But he, like, in games that he doesn't turn it over, I think he's like undefeated. which is
1-0.
I think he's like 4-0, but it's fine.
At the base of this argument is I would rather neither of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would not. I don't want either of them.
Danny Dimes is a future MVP in this league.
Okay, wait, just very quickly. Would you rather have, if you have the choice between Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, and Jameis Winston, are you taking Jameis?
Absolutely not close.
I'm taking Jameis.
Not close.
Well, I would take Jameis because he led the league in yards and touchdowns.
Okay.
Also interceptions, but that's fine.
Okay, perfect. I saw this thing yesterday. It was like like a video of a meme of Jameis crying, and he's like, I can't believe people are applauding Tom Brady for this. Like 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Same reason you got kicked out of Tampa.
Okay, let's just move on because that was way too long. Okay, so let's move on to our last one, and I don't know how you guys are gonna feel about this one, but it's Tua or Drew Lock.
Oh, can I choose neither?
Yeah, I agree. I don't want either of them.
Can I choose a draft pick, like 7th round?
Tua is the right answer. All right, so we've got me and Cam saying Tua, Shane saying Drew Lock, and Dawson saying Anthony Calvillo.
Actually Tua though. Actually Tua.
Okay, so we're 3-1. Why do you say Lock, man?
Lock.
I don't disagree with Locke. I think he needs Cortland Sutton back though.
I'm not saying Lock is a consistent quarterback, but he has shown more games that there's more flashes from him that I've seen where he could be a starting quarterback in the NFL than I've seen from Tua.
I can get behind that. And I think not for nothing, next year, that Denver receiving core, if all pans out properly, is going to be disgusting.
Well, that's why
Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, and Tim Patrick there. I don't know if he's on contract still, but
also
Drew Lock seems
like a great guy to hang out with.
Drew Lock seems like a cool dude. Tua, whatever.
Another thing, with Tua, is that, I feel like he kind of had some Carson Wentz syndrome going on with having a backup quarterback breathing down your neck, Not saying,
Well, maybe play better and you wouldn't have it.
I guess. But, it does make sense that guys would be under more, would feel more pressure when you have a guy who's almost as good as you breathing down your neck. Tua, think about Tua, man. They drafted him and said, you're the guy in whatever it was, week 7, we're going to put you in as starter. We're going to let you stay behind Fitzpatrick for a while, but our plan is to put you in at week 7, and then we're not going to let you finish games.
I don't think they said that to him in the meeting. I think they said, go out and win games, and if you suck, then I'm pulling you.
No, but
it happened.
But that's unusual. You don't pull your starting franchise guy 3 games almost in a row.
You're still trying to win, whether he's your franchise guy or not. You're still trying to win games.
No,
they were in a playoff spot when they put Tua in. And if I understand why he did it. You're there to win games. He's getting paid to win games. As a head coach, Brian Flores is getting paid to win games, right?
Another thing I want to
in a
say,
playoff spot, I'm doing that to win a game.
Another thing I want to say is that the Dolphins' playbook was not based around deep balls all season, and everyone's saying, "Oh, Tua didn't throw deep balls," but you could see that the routes. You could see, I saw a bunch of videos about this. All the routes that get called are deep ins, short slants, stuff like that. And then everyone's like, "Oh, well, Fitzpatrick's throwing the deep balls." Yeah, because they're down 2 touchdowns, and with 2 minutes left, you're not going to throw slants. To me, you can't say, "Oh, he doesn't have a deep ball throw." He was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in college of all time, and he had deep throw accuracy. It's not like that just went away. Not saying I completely agree.
You know what went away, Matt? Though, what went away is he's playing at Alabama with 5-star receivers. He has 6 5-star receivers against teams who may or may not have 5-star corners covering them. In the NFL, it's top talent, and sometimes you got to take the deep ball when it's not there. You got to fit into tight windows.
Obviously, that says something about.
The only thing to me is just Tua looked a little bit scared to do it. I'm not giving up on Tua yet, but he looked a little bit scared to push the ball down the field. And if that's play calling, then it's play calling. I'm sure they'll get that right, but
I think Shane has tried to say this 5 times, but you guys just talk over him. But it kind of points to the fact that they don't trust Tua late in games to throw.
Oh, I agree, 100%. 100%. That's what it is. That you wouldn't be pulling him if you trusted him to come back. But he did look like more of a game manager than like a flashy, like in your face kind of quarterback.
Also, Drew Lock has a crazy strong arm.
Either way, comparing Tua to Drew Lock is kind of a cause for concern for Miami fans because they don't want this guy to be a Drew Lock. Let's be real. They drafted this guy.
It was also his rookie year. He came in halfway through the season.
Yes.
Didn't have a lot of NFL experience. So we'll see what happens.
Yep.
I mean, Fitzpatrick's probably not going to be on that team next year either, right? He's probably going to.
I mean, Drew Lock played 2 games last year, so he didn't.
He was unhealthy the whole year. Anyways,
this isn't me talking about Drew. This is me talking about we can't give up on Tua here. Anyways, that was it.
Up on Tua.
You're giving up on Tua?
I stand by it. If he somehow becomes a Hall of Fame, I'll apologize to him at his Hall of Fame ceremony.
All right.
I'll show up. I'll buy my ticket. I'll pay out much money I need to, and I'll stand up, say I'm sorry to him, and then probably get boxed out by some security.
So the only way you're going to apologize for him not having a career is if he makes it to the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, as a 5th overall should.
Okay. Let's move on. That was it for this or that QB edition. We're going to move on to everyone's favorite segment, I think.
It is.
Top 5. We always have a bunch of good laughs. I don't know if it's going to be that funny this time, but it's going to be. It could be controversial. And it's top 5 NBA players when healthy today. So Klay Thompson is allowed, a guy who tore his ACL. Like when he's healthy, he's good. I don't have him in my top 5, but I'm just saying a guy like that is allowed to be in your top 5. You can't just be like, hey, he's hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go through my list real quick. Number 5, I have Steph Curry, best shooter of all time. Really good without the ball. A very good leader. He's scoring a lot. He's starting to shoot like he did. He's leading that team to be better than most people thought they were going to be. I have him at 5. I'm sorry, Dawson, I don't have Doncic in my list. Not yet, but I'm very certain he will be there soon. And it's just because these 5 guys I find are better right now and more valuable right now. Number 4, I have Giannis. 2 times in a row has won the MVP, deservedly so. You could argue last year LeBron deserved it. I'm going to argue LeBron deserved it, but it's not like Giannis didn't. He's so dominant with the ball. His only flaw is shooting the ball, but he won Defensive Player of the Year last year, right? And like you're winning MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, you got to be in the top 5, in my opinion. Like it's just like if that's basically because MVP usually is because of offensive stats and value to your team comes from defense as well. And Giannis winning Defensive Player of the Year is unbelievable. He's at number 4. Number 3, I have Kawhi Leonard. When healthy, he is arguably unstoppable. Maybe the best 2-way player in the league. He could shoot. He could play defense. He's like Colin Cowherd has a big segment about Kawhi all the time. His big like quote would always be like, if I need a guy to get a bucket and get a stop, I'm gonna take Kawhi. You know?
That's Max Kellerman.
That's Max Kellerman. Colin Cowherd said like you need a stop, I'm taking Kawhi Leonard at number 3. Number 2, Kevin Durant. I think he's the best scorer of all time. He's starting to get back into that MVP mode. And number 1, I have LeBron James. It's without a doubt. I think he's the best player of all time. I've had many times on this podcast where I defend LeBron. I don't think he needs any defending at number 1. And last year's playoff showed it again. That he's the most valuable player in this league, and it's not close. He just makes everyone around him better. He's arguably the best passer in the league. All around, I think he's the best player ever. It's hard to debate that. Cam, Shane, and I had a huge conversation. We got mad at each other again. But anyways, that's my top 5.
All right, I'm gonna jump in here. So mine isn't like yours. I have some guys I left out, some guys I added, different positioning. Number 5, Kawhi Leonard. I don't know if it's because I don't catch West Coast games that much, but I find since he went to the Clippers, he hasn't been the same because, not for nothing, when and again, I know Durant was hurt, all of that, but when he won the championship with Toronto, it was almost clear to me that, okay, when LeBron's gone, this is Kawhi's league. And I just don't see it that way anymore. So for that reason, he's at 5. Number 4, my boy, MVP, Luka Doncic, without a doubt. Number 3, Steph Curry. Steph can take over a game probably better than anyone in the
Can I,
NBA. Just the
can I
fact that
pause you for a second? Did you have Dame on your list? Matt.
Did I have Dame on my list? I don't think he's a top 5 player in the league.
Okay.
No. I would have him probably at 7 with Doncic at 6.
Okay. Sorry.
where's AD, Matt?
I think all 7 of those guys are more valuable right now than AD is.
Okay. So number 3, like I said, Steph. No player in the NBA can score 9 points in 30 seconds. Like just that kind of ability like Steph does, just getting up the court, shooting that 3. His handles are, arguably the best in the league. I just think he's so underrated now, which is crazy to say because of how much hype there was on him. But just now that the spotlight's a little bit off Golden State, I think Curry becomes so underrated. This is where it gets a little controversial. At 2, I have LeBron. I'm not debating that LeBron isn't the greatest of all time because in the past year or so, I've gained so much respect for LeBron, not even for winning the championship, just for, a multitude of different things. I've gained so much respect for him. I now can say with confidence that I think LeBron is the greatest of all time. I think he's, again, probably the most valuable player in the NBA right now. But for me, the most talented player in the NBA, the most raw talented player in the NBA is Kevin Durant. Like Matt said, I think he's the greatest scorer of all time. There's obviously a whole lot of levels to the NBA other than scoring, but I think he's just leaps and bounds ahead of everyone scoring, and that just makes up for everything else. So KD is my number 1 player. He's been, my favorite player forever. So
I strongly disagree, but it's
At 5, yeah, I'm just gonna go. At 5, I have Luka. Obviously, like you said, Dawson, very good chance he wins MVP this year. At 4, I have Steph. Like same reasons as you. He's just guy's a game changer. Like he revolutionized the NBA. Like there's no doubt about that. At 3, I have Giannis. Like no arguing what he's done and what he's accomplished. Just missing a title. At 2, I do have KD, and at 1, I have Braun. I'm not gonna disagree with either of you guys. I think I have LeBron at 1 just because, like, I mean, to me, he's the best player in the NBA. But like, just also what he's done throughout his career, like, just puts him at 1 for me. I don't think the margin between him and KD is like it's very very slim right now. So that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, my list might be a little interesting to some of you guys because if you guys remember, I had Luka as my MVP for this year, but I actually don't have him in my top 5. I'm gonna start off my top 5 with 2 centers actually, and the first one at 5 is Jokic. I think anything that guy, like, he could play. To me, if a center could play point guard and can lead the league in assists at some point throughout any part of the season, I think he definitely deserves to have his name talked about a lot more than I think Jokic is having his name talked about. He's like, this guy's getting triple doubles and could honestly easily at some point in his career average a triple double. I think he's by far the best player on that team. I think he's a piece they want to build around, and I think he'll be there for his career. At 4, this is based off the way he's playing this year. It's Embiid. Like, he's an early favorite for MVP the way he's playing.
He's playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, he's playing fantastic. I've always said I would rather build around Embiid than Simmons. And, I mean, I think this is we trusted the process long enough for Embiid to be in this list. At 3, I got Giannis. Back-to-back MVP speaks for itself. At 2, I got KD. I think this guy came back better. Like,
which is crazy.
He looks better than he did before. And, yeah, it's crazy. Best scorer of all time, like you guys talked about. The point of the basketball is to put the ball in the net, and he does it better than anybody I've ever seen. But at 1, you guys know it's LeBron. I also think he's the greatest of all time, my favorite athlete. Kevin Durant doesn't do enough, like, passing the ball. Like, for me to put him above LeBron. But like Cam said, I think it's a lot closer now than it used to be.
Before we move on, I just want to bring up 2 points. So before you said, like, why isn't Anthony Davis in your top 5 or whatever on your list? Because this is not taking anything away from Anthony Davis. This is me saying LeBron just makes everyone so much better, okay?
It's true.
Anthony Davis did not have – I think he had one playoff series win in his 7-year career before coming to LA. LeBron James took him to a championship. And you could say he didn't have great teams, but LeBron James took garbage teams to the finals. Like,
Okay, but you're comparing Anthony Davis to LeBron James. Right?
no, but I'm just okay. Okay, yes, but this is why I think that people like like LeBron James, like some like LeBron haters are like LeBron James isn't even the best player on his team. To me, that's a joke. Like to me, like that's just the dumbest thing ever. Like, so anyways, but the thing I want to say is this might sound controversial, but I feel like it's time to start talking about Ben Simmons just not living up to what he was all like to his hype. Like,
he's playing the wrong position.
Yeah, so like I wasn't thinking like I'm not saying he's a bust. I don't think so. But everyone was saying this guy's so freaking good. He's the freaking LeBron from Australia, you know, like, and it's like his point prop from Vegas has gone under all but 2 games this year. Like,
Okay, but he's never been a scorer.
No, but like, fair enough. But also, to be a point guard, you have to be at least able to shoot a 3. Like, that's what happened. That's what happened when Golden State was so good. They changed the game. They made it about 3-pointers, and that's what the league is now. It's not about big man play. It's about shooting. And Ben Simmons is a great passer, and I think, Shane, you're spot on. I don't think he's playing the right position because I don't think he's good enough to command the court, especially when he's what's his height, like 6'10"? What is it, 6?
Yeah, something 6.
Yeah, something crazy like that. Like, I don't know. I just feel like he came into the league so overhyped, and now it's crashing down. Like, I feel like he's just not been getting better. I don't know.
No, I get that. What's Shane?
He's the same player he was at LSU.
Yeah, he's just not like better. not for nothing. If
Consistency
you train with NBA quality trainers for 5 or 4 off seasons and you can't figure out how to put a 3 in the basket, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Like, you give me a summer with an NBA trainer, I'll hit some 3s more than fucking Ben Simmons. I promise you I will. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense to me. Like, ugh.
And you could say, like, it's because he doesn't shoot them enough or whatever, but didn't he start his career, like, 0 for 31 from 3 or something like that? Like
he couldn't shoot him, but he literally wasn't even trying because it's shit.
He can't.
Like, but that's what, like, yeah, you're right. It goes back to what I said before. Like, it's all about the 3 ball now, and he clearly can't do it. I don't know what his issue is, but yeah, they got.
It's like it goes back to like what position he's playing. You know, like if he was a power forward or something, I'm not saying he should be, but if he was a power forward, he wasn't taking 3s. Everyone would be like, "Hey, I don't care," because you're a power forward. But it's because he's a point guard. Like,
yeah,
like teams are literally giving him 6 feet of space to shoot a 3 because they know he's not going to hit it. Like, it's, to me, like, that's got to get fixed if he wants any chance at becoming a great player in this league.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our last segment, and it's the segment that we do every single week to end the show, and it is our lock of the week in terms of betting. And I just want to give myself a little pat on the back, not because my bet hit, it's because of how it hit. I had Travis Kelce anytime touchdown score, but then I went on to describe how he scores his touchdowns. Like, when they get into the red zone, he's their guy. I mean, he had 2 touchdowns, but I think it was his first touchdown where I was like, oh, like, this guy will have Patrick Mahomes give him a little underpass or a little shovel pass. And the first touchdown was Patrick Mahomes doing a little 2-yard boot and then turning around and underhanding the ball to Travis Kelce, jumps to the end. So, like, I called that spot on. But, yeah, so my lock of the week hit last week. I'm back on track. I'm going to go with Colorado is playing San Jose on Thursday. So I have Nathan McKinnon as an anytime point scorer. I think that's that you could argue that's a lock every single game, but like, because he's that good. But he's gonna score a point, maybe 2. on Thursday against San Jose.
Yeah, I have kind of following the same theme, just with our boys back in Montreal. I have Nick Suzuki, anytime point scorer.
Against like on Thursday or Saturday?
Thursday.
Okay.
I don't know what I want to go with here.
Shane, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. We talked about this before. Tyler Toffoli felt so bad that he didn't hit my lock that he scored 5 goals in 2 games. But I'm going to pick another player on the Habs to score a goal. And that's going to be Brendan Gallagher. First game at home. I know no fans, but he loves to play at home, and he's going to pot one against Calgary on Thursday night.
I think Jake Evans is going to get a multi-point game.
Ooh.
That's your lock of the week.
All right, fine. Give me Jake Evans. Give me Jake Evans to score on Thursday.
That's your lock of the week. No.
Okay, man. Yo,
You're gonna put money on that?
way too many penalties. He's gonna score. Maybe not. I won't lock it as a shorty, but I'm going Jake Evans anytime goal scorer on Thursday.
I feel like if anything, that's a. But anyways, all right. So that does it for episode 7 of the Nothing But Controversy podcast. Just a little quick reminder. We post every Tuesday at 5, so this will be up tomorrow. I mean, today, if you're listening now, I guess.
This will be up when you're listening to it.
Yeah, we'll post. So we film every Monday. We're going to be posting on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Instagram. We have a page at Nothing But Controversy where we post clips and with visuals. We post announcements. And on YouTube, we post the entire podcast filmed. We film on Zoom, record it straight on. So yeah, give us a share, give us a like, text us if you have any suggestions for segments. If you disagree with us, you could always give us a text. We love the controversy. That's why we started this podcast. And last thing is stay tuned for the biggest announcement in Nothing But Controversy history coming Thursday. Get ready and get excited. Next week's our Super Bowl episode, and that's going to be a huge one.
It's arguably the biggest announcement in all of podcast history.